and welcome to my channel. Well, we have another installment of the knives I carried the most in 2024. Now, I have 3 Civivi Elementum sitting over here, but I didn't carry all of them. I just want to discuss something about those, and we'll get into that right now. The Elementum was the flipper that stopped me from buying other flippers for the longest time, because I had found what I wanted, the right size and everything. Now, the only problem with this particular model of Elementum that I got is, as you can see, and I've done a lot to try to get that, you really have to put a lot of oomph into it to get it to deploy right. Now, that's no real big deal, but it is annoying since every other Civivi I had a good detent. So I had bought the S35VN version. Now what I've done here is I've swapped the scales and the hardware, because it was a silver knife with this silver hardware and this OD green type of micarta. When I bought this one, the Elementum Tanto, it came with these covers on them, or scales, and I like this one a lot better. It's burlap micarta. It's got a little bit more texture. This is all right. It's just a little smooth and everything, but it goes well. That combination goes well by swapping it out. Now, I had a little issue with this. Civivi has got a little detent. I think it's in the covers or the scales itself. There's a little notch there that's supposed to line. Well, when I went to take this one off of this knife right here, this guy started spinning, and it was tight. I mean, no matter how much I turned, this would spin. So I had to mash down on this like this with my thumb to keep it from moving, and push real hard, and I finally broke it loose. But I mean, that's one thing. And then while I was putting it together, the stop pin on this one fell out, and I had a GI blanket on me. I mean, a Wooby blanket or whatever, poncho liner, and I thought it fell in the folds of that. I had this particular thing I was working with, and I went, oh man. So I got my magnet out. I started looking all over the floor. I couldn't find it. I started, physically looking, getting up close and shining a flashlight. Still couldn't find it. Finally, I looked on this again, and it was here. It was just rolling around. So I finally found the stop pin and put it back together. But that was the only issue I had. And now, man, I like this. Now, the problem is, the reason why I stopped carrying the Elementum is because I wanted to try other knives. I mean, I wanted to give them a little bit of a break. So I got this guy when I was in the Tanto phase, and its detent is better. It's much better than that one. I got this one a while back because it was S35VN, and everything's perfect on it. The detent is perfect. You can't... when this thing breaks, it's going to deploy. That's a perfect detent. On this one, when it breaks, it only half deploys. This one here, when it breaks, again, it's easier. It's better than that one, but it's not of as good of a detent as this one. All right. Now, once I've got this configured like this, man, it's more compact, a little bit more compact than the Pyrite. It's definitely less heavy. This one, it's got it's all metal. I mean, there's cutouts for lightweight and everything, but it's an all metal handle, as opposed to, you've got cutouts and then a micarta handle. Why don't we just find out, instead of guessing what the difference is. It should work. It's not level and everything, but it should be able to tell weight. All right, so 2.5 ounces as opposed to 3.7. All right, but I still love this point, man. I love this point on this knife. I like everything about it, the fuller, everything. But that's a CJRB pyrite, and they call it rose gold and AARPM9. What is it? A-RPM9 steel. Fairly good. But like I said, there's a noticeable difference between this one and that one. All right. So if I was to just carry a knife in my pocket all the time, I'm probably going to go back to this guy. Simply because I usually have at least 3 knives on me. All right. So I've got, I've got my little fixed blade, and it usually gets all the attention because it's easiest to get to. It's right there and everything else. Now, because I've been carrying this guy in my pocket, I put him back in my pocket. And this guy right here, I just take on my shirt right here and I run him sideways like that. And so now, I've got I'm ready. I've got another flashlight up here, if I can lower down there. But yeah, the flipper category, like I said, is one of those where I tend to find something that works and I stick with it. I don't go buying a bunch of different ones, although I have been lately. When I got spare money, I would buy a flipper rather than a traditional knife. And I call these flippers over here, they're automatics, they're button locks, but I mean, you get the idea. They flip out. What I liked about this one, this is the Civivi Brazen. It has a longer blade. It's like about a 3.5-inch blade or so. And it has a button lock, a flipper, and then thumb studs. So, I mean, there are multiple ways you can open this thing if you want. Button lock it, thumb stud it, and flipper. Which makes me almost want to get the Elementum 2 because it's basically set up like this. Set up like that. I don't think it has a... Yeah, they don't have the thumb studs on the Elementum 2. But this one I still like to carry. It's 3.9, 3.8. It's a little bit heavier, but longer blade. All right, now, when I was in my Tanto phase, of course, I got the Tanto Kalashnikov. All right, I also picked up a companion, the little Desert Warrior version of this guy, which is one of the ones that I carry the most, simply because I got a very big blade. I can go all the way back here if I want to. Now, button locks are not the strongest action and this is the reason why I don't think this is as great to have as a Tanto blade, because the Tanto is designed for piercing, and that's your weak point. See that button lock right there? That's your weak point on these, because I found that out from throwing this one into the ground. Yeah, I know you shouldn't do that, but I threw it into the ground. I don't know if you can see that, yeah, but there's a little gouge right there. This metal right here is D2, I think. Yeah, D2. And this metal right here is not D2. It's less strong than D2. So if it gets a shock where it's trying to go up or down or whatever, it's gonna move that metal, right? And then you're gonna have wobble. I don't have it now. I don't have up and down blade play because I moved that. I basically took it apart and adjusted it so that when it locks, it doesn't hit those grooves anymore. But that's what I learned about it, is they're not that strong for forward thrust, like forward thrust and meeting some resistance. So, that's what a Tanto does a lot of times, is it's known for piercing. How do you pierce? Forward thrust. So this design may not be the best for that particular thing. Same way with this. It's a Tanto blade again. But if you're going to do a whole lot of piercing, I don't know how well this one stands up to that. Same way with this guy. Again, I like the way they tapered this one down. They tapered it right here too. I like the way they did this Tanto. But again, now we've got a liner lock, which is not going to have that issue. I mean, when you push back, it's engaging in a liner lock. And if you look at it, it's a pretty good engagement. It just starts right there. Now, this one here, it was, early engagement. And this one here is the same way, but I'm telling you, this detent is perfect on this one. You can see it's an early lockup, but I mean, that just gives you, it ain't going anywhere. I mean, you're pushing on basically half the metal against this. I'm not going to push it, you could try to get it to go all the way over. Why? This is a light duty type of knife. I'm not going to stab it into a tree and try to climb up the tree with it, using it as a peg. But yeah, that's a short one basically because, once again, messing around with this, I realized that this is it, man. This is my favorite knife in this category. I mean, it's not too big, it's not too small. I would like an Elementum 3.5 inches long blade. The rest of the dimensions can be the same, with a button lock in it and a flipper. It doesn't have to have thumb studs. Just take this. You can lengthen the handle a little bit if you want, but lengthen the blade to give me that. All right. Now I know they did the button lock Elementum, but it's button lock only. And I mean, that would mean that, and you can't just pull it out. You have to hit the button. You have to push the button to release it and let it go. Now, some people, they may have no issue with that. I don't like just one way of opening my knife. I don't like that. And they know how to do it. See, they can do it. They know how to do it. So it just really annoys me. That's another one of my pet peeves is, why didn't they ever make another Elementum slightly longer? I don't care about this 3-inch rule. Yeah, you've got these for the ones that are under 3 inches, all right, or 3 inches and under. But for those of us that are not restricted by that, I'd like a little bit longer blade. That's it, That's it. I carry this if I have to, because bigger blade. But with the Elementum, I don't know why it's been so popular and everything else, why they didn't ever think of slightly making it bigger, exactly like this, a flipper. You can add button lock if you want and everything, but a little bit larger, but not button lock only. So I think Civivi screwed up on that. And what do I know? I'm not Civivi. I'm not making, but I know they would have at least made a sale on me right there if they would have come out with that. I would have bought it. It'd been the next thing on my list, just because this is great, man. Just another half-inch longer blade would make a big difference on that to me. I don't know. Anyways, that's my little rant and ramble about that. My next category might be traditional knives that I carry, but I also got a very good suggestion on ridiculously large. I think Morte asked me that one. Ridiculously large, almost embarrassed to show anybody but other knife people category, and I have some of those. I have some knives like that are they're functional, but they're ridiculously large. So I'll put that in as another category. But anyways, that's for 2024. These are not all of my flipper knives by any means. These are just the ones that I carried and used the most. And of these, the ones that got the least amount of use and carry, I did put a convex edge on this and didn't mess it up, which is kind of hard to do when you're doing a convex edge. Mainly the two Tantos or whatever were least carried, and this was just out there as an example. I didn't really carry it. I just, when I lost my stop pin, I was going to steal it from this guy. That's the advantage of having three knives that are basically the same, is I could steal that stop pin if I have to, if I lose one. But yeah, there you go. That's it for 2024. Yeah, it's upside down, isn't it? Oh well. The whole world's upside down, so we might as well be here. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.